Welcome to Bilbo's Esports adventure. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me a mail. And yeah, you might find the title weird, but there's a simple reason for it actually. It's the name that I use when gaming. So, a little bit of backstory behind the name. I was young, and yeah, a pretty big fan of Lord of the Rings, and I liked the character. I gotta admit, I was also quite childish, and I wanted to be funny at the time to my friends, so I made the name Bilbo Swaggins. After a few years, I deleted the swag part because it wasn't that funny and cool after all, especially when my name started being casted on broadcasts. And yeah, it was not cool anymore. So, who am I? I am Bram van Overbeke, also known as Bilbo in the esports world. I am a student of communication sciences, and I'm finishing up my master's, hopefully this year. I'm 22 years old and I've been in the esports scene for a few years now, I think since 2018. But for those who are not familiar with esports, what is esports? There are tons of different definitions, but they all generally come down to this: organized competitions in digital games. A few people are still stuck on the idea that gamers are people who are addicted to gaming, spend all of their time in the basement of their parents, and live life without hygiene. Sure, there are some who take it to those extreme levels, but in the esports world, it couldn't be further from the truth. Except maybe the addicted part. That's kind of needed. Esporters are mostly super healthy, and I'll say more on that later. But as you can see from these pictures, there's also a big audience for esports, where even the biggest stadiums can be filled to the brim with fans. Prize money wise, esports is definitely holding its own against other traditional sports. Let's see. An example of this, tennis. One of the tournaments, Roland Garros, in 2021, I think was worth about $35 million. Pretty good, I'd say. And the esports comparison to this is let's take the game Dota 2. The International is a yearly tournament, and in 2020, the prize pool set at around $40 million. Sure, esports isn't quite as big as stuff like football, but it's doing well. What is it that I do with esports? Well, I play a game called Rocket League. For people who don't know what it is, it's basically football, but with cars. Every time I explain it this way, it sounds childish. I started playing when the game came out in 2015 in the summer. And if I did my calculations right, since that time I've put about 4 hours to 5 hours a day of playing it on average. Eventually I got good at the game and I played in tournaments under big organizations, both from home and in locations in front of thousands of viewers. So, how did all of this start? Well, honestly, this is probably one of the best memories I will ever have, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. But in 2018, it happened before I even knew it was happening. I played in a couple small online tournaments, sure, but that was with friends, where you can freely enter. And we actually did pretty well in those. And then, in the middle of class at uni, in my first year, I got the most exciting, exciting mail ever. I literally couldn't sit still anymore. So this exciting mail was this one. And as you can see, it goes fast. Um, yeah, I was in a math class in my first year, and I instantly asked my professor to go to the bathroom, called my parents, talked about the contract, signed it, and 3 days later I was on the train on my way to London. Team Envy was actually the first organization I played for, and for those who are interested, Team Envy is an organization based in the USA and is probably one of the biggest organizations in the entire world. Yeah, they're worth multiple millions and have different teams over different games, and they have some of the biggest content creators to them as well. I've also played under other organizations, such as Epsilon Esports, which is a Belgian org actually, and Dignitas, which is another pretty big US organization. But what are the actual expectations of a professional gamer? What do you do to have to live the dream of professional gaming? Firstly, you gotta practice every single day, weekends included. Other than that, there are planned coaching moments, and depending on the organization you're assigned to, appointments with fitness coaches, health coaches, dietists, and psychologists, so you can perform to the best of your abilities. Lastly, orgs usually take a cut from all the prize money you win, and usually this is at around 10 to 20%. Some orgs don't take anything, some orgs take way too much, and a problem with a few of these that take too much is that they get some young and promising gamers who are stuck with the organization because in their excitement they didn't really read their contracts and just signed it. Yeah, there's not much regulation in esports yet, so this is sadly a thing. But this picture gives some more information to how many hours I've actually played. So it says 4,700 basically, but the actual number is a bit closer to 6,000 over multiple accounts actually. And this is an example of the schedule I followed when I had to go to London every week. So as you can see, let's say on average 8 to 10 hours of gaming per day, and then on Saturday and Sunday it was traveling and maybe an hour of gaming tops. Yeah, it was pretty intense, and I'll tell more on the intense part later. But honestly, these were some of the best times of my life. Um, And of course, organizations also have the ability to put their players in sponsorship deals, content shoots, photo shoots, and other promotional stuff. This is a picture of me doing something with Coca-Cola recently. Okay, these are a few images of my favorite moments. I know it looks like I'm stroking my ego, but these are actually images to show the social aspect around esports. People always think how you're all weird, you don't talk to anyone, you're not capable of social interactions, but actually everyone knows everyone and is friendly with each other, and it's honestly, I've made some great friends in this scene. Okay, well, then the slippery slope of vacation. Ominous title, I know, but all things must sadly come to an end, and this story is no exception, sadly. But what caused this? I'd like to say my week of vacation in 2019. In the middle of 2019, there were some issues with the organizer of the biggest tournament, so the qualifiers were planned on the same date as a vacation I could move. Because of this week of vacation, I could only join the top team as a bench warmer, so stuck on the bench, not being able to show myself. And even if I was a bench warmer at the best time in Europe at that time, you don't really get the chance to show yourself to the world, and you get less practice time because people have set teams and they don't want to practice against a team who's using their bench warmer. So people don't see you for 4 to 6 months, and all the hype behind my name was practically gone. Less people were interested in trying me out. After that, Corona came, and the weird thing of Corona, it kind of had a reverse effect. Even though I was locked inside and had more time to game, I had a burnout, and I actually wanted to enjoy my till then neglected social life. But yeah, professional gaming, it still sounds amazing, right? Now I'm gonna list some personal pros and cons. There are more, but these are the most important to me. So as you can see, some positives: travel the world for your hobby. That's honestly one of the best parts. The social word, I'm gonna say it again. Everyone is super like-minded, and you can practically be friends with anyone. And then the intensity of tournaments, I love it. It just that feeling of pressure and there's something on the line. That I would. Oh, competitiveness is in my veins. And then some of the cons. Okay, some people might look a little strange at the hobby becomes a job part as something negative, because we all know the saying: if you do your hobby as your job, you won't ever work a day in your life. Well, by being by being a professional gamer, I see this a bit more pessimistically. Your hobby becomes a job, a chore. You can't really take a break, so yeah. The most common factor why people stop being professional gamers is burnout. And next to that money you earn, while nice, the money associates your hobby with earning money. And in my case, this caused me to just play for the money and not for my enjoyment or the fun of it. And that snowballed into playing when I really didn't want to play. Yeah. What did I learn actually out of my foray into the esports world? Well, first, use the momentum of playing at the highest level and all the hype behind your name and getting the first bit of fame. That's something the young players do way better now than back in my days. They usually start making content on YouTube or live streaming on Twitch, and they grow into content creators with millions of followers. Secondly, also, even though I like to blame my vacation for it, I I could have done I could have done better. I could have put more time into it. But yeah, I had a burnout basically because I poured everything into this and took little breaks. So take breaks. Even when you do something you enjoy, take breaks. It's healthy. So what came after? What am I doing now? Well, currently I'm actually playing for a Belgian team in a Belgian league. It's a bit lower level than what I used to play at, but it's still somewhat okay. And also I do some coaching and I manage some teams. And that's about it. And this picture is a bit outdated. Actually, this season has finished and we finished third place. So pretty good. Could have done better, could have done worse. So all in all, not too upsetting. And that was it. Thank you for watching this little presentation about my life and about esports. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me at these things. Thank you for watching.